Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the inner world, a landscape that's just as vast and maybe even more mysterious than any place you could find on a map. And our guides for this trip? Well, we're calling them the Visionaries, the people who dare to look inside. So let's kick things off with this really powerful idea from Carl Jung. Just picture this. Everything you're thinking and aware of right now, your conscious mind, is like a tiny little island. In this quote, it's telling us that this island is surrounded by a massive, deep, and pretty mysterious ocean. That's the unconscious.
Now, most of us, we're pretty happy staying on that familiar island our whole lives. But some people, they feel this incredible pull to explore that ocean. They just have to set sail into that inner world, becoming these amazing pioneers of the human spirit.
Okay, so let's really get into what this means. On one hand, you've got your conscious mind, your ego. That's the part of you that's in the driver's seat, or at least thinks it is. But the unconscious, whoa, that's the whole engine room. It's not just forgotten memories. It's the source of our deepest instincts, our creativity, and these powerful, universal patterns Jung called archetypes. He basically saw it as the true source of life itself. And this is where it gets really interesting. You notice that during times of big, chaotic change, when the old rules and beliefs start to fall apart, certain people can get, well, almost possessed by these deep forces from the unconscious. They get completely swept up and feel this unstoppable drive to share a new vision with the world. They become the prophets, the reformers. But, and this is a huge but, this journey into the depths, it is not some peaceful cruise. It's a dangerous adventure. And the very first monster you have to face is the part of yourself you've spent your whole life pretending isn't there. This is what he called the shadow. Think of it as your own personal blind spot. It's where you've stuffed everything you don't like about yourself. The anger, the jealousy, all that stuff. But here's the twist. It also holds your hidden talents, your repressed creativity. It's the gatekeeper to the rest of your psyche, and you have to go through it. And this is where the visionary faces a massive choice, a real fork in the road. Facing your shadow, really looking at it, that's a blessing. It leads to incredible self-awareness and makes you a more whole person. But ignoring it, that's the curse. Because then you risk being secretly controlled by the very things you refuse to see in yourself. And this is the ultimate danger we're talking about. Jung was fascinated by old alchemy texts, and they often have these images of people being eaten by lions or other beasts. That's a symbol for being completely overwhelmed by your own untamed instincts. It's not a journey anymore. It's just a terrifying descent into total chaos. Okay, so if the visionary makes it past that first guardian, the personal shadow, the journey gets even stranger. They start to meet figures that don't just belong to them, but to all of humanity. These are the anima and the animus. Now, unlike the shadow, which is mostly your stuff, these figures come from what Jung called the collective unconscious, a kind of shared psychic blueprint we all inherit. For a man, the anima is this inner feminine image. For a woman, the animus is the inner masculine. They're basically the image of your soul. And these figures, they're different. They're way more subtle and powerful than the shadow. They have this captivating, almost magical quality to them. Meeting them feels incredibly personal, intimate, and often very secretive. The thing is, they can be your greatest guide, or they can lead you completely astray. And this brings us, finally, to the very heart of this inner world, the real goal of this whole quest. After navigating all these layers of the psyche, the visionary gets close to the source of unity itself. Jung had a special name for this central point. The self. And it is so important to get this. The self is not your ego. The ego is just that little island we talked about. The self is the organizing center of the entire ocean. It's the archetype of wholeness, the part of you that's trying to bring all the chaotic, conflicting parts of your personality into a beautiful, harmonious balance. So you might be wondering, how does the mind even start to show this kind of order? Well, it often happens through these incredible symbols called mandalas, or magic circles. It's amazing, when people are going through a really tough time, they often start dreaming about or drawing these patterns all over the world. It's like the mind's natural way of trying to create order out of chaos. There's this old alchemical saying that just nails it perfectly. The treasure, that wholeness of the self, it's hidden deep in the ocean of the unconscious. And the only way to get to it is by taking this scary, narrow plunge into the dark. But the reward is everything.
And what's amazing is this isn't just one culture's idea. People all over the world have been chasing this treasure for centuries. The philosopher's stone, the diamond body, the treasure hard to attain, they all have different names for it, but they're all pointing to the same thing, a totally transformed, whole, and integrated way of being.
Okay, this all sounds pretty wild, right? Deep, profound, but what's the point? Why should this crazy, dangerous inner journey of the visionary matter to any of us just trying to get through the week in the modern world?
Well, for Jung, the answer was incredibly urgent. He felt that our modern world, with its focus on logic and rationality, has cut us off from our own instincts. It's created this unbearable alienation from the very source of our vitality. So this inner journey, it's not about escaping the world. It's about healing that split and reconnecting our conscious minds with the real life-giving roots of who we are.
And that really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? In a world that so often feels broken and disconnected, should we maybe listen a little more closely to these people, the ones who map the inner world, the ones who dive into the depths to find a path back to wholeness? Maybe that's a journey worth paying attention to.